What does the election tell us? It seems to be a very clear anti-establishment vote. What does it mean for businesses?
I think it is probably the worst result we could get at this time. I think there was quite a confidence in the financial world until last week that a center, right, center, left majority could be reached, agreement, negotiations. Now, this is really an image of Italy which is even very impactful for us. When I saw this morning a map of Italy where you really see the yellow color on the south, you see all green on the north, it really shows two different Italys. And this is a problem for the future. I think not only today, but if we expect a second vote, hopefully not, that could even create a most complicated situation. The advantage is that Italy has mostly been governed by coalition government, but there is an excessive, but in this case maybe helpful movement of a member of a parliament inside the different chambers. And so Italy has been very good really in creating balance even when it was impossible.
Yeah, Michele Norsa, it seems that the feeling on the market is Italy's always been messy with politics, and so they're largely ignoring it. But what does it mean for big multinational companies? Will they continue to grow abroad? Is it an export-led recovery? And does it mean that there's going to be more anger here as the person on the street doesn't feel that recovery?
It might be difficult to explain what is going on and what will be going on. I think still the risks that multinationals see in Italy, which is mostly justice, which is bureaucracy, will be not easily removed in a situation like this one, where you would really need a strong majority to change something. On the other side, I think Italy has opportunities in sectors which are not so well focused now, like tourism. It's an incredible attraction for the Asians, the Chinese. Chinese companies are buying in Italy now every day, so there might not be big investment from the major Americans, but I think from Asia there is an incredible interest in buying factories, in buying business, in buying brands. And this moves with a fastness. Fossum, I think, has bought 2-3 companies in the last 6 months, and new players are coming.
And this will be despite politics. So I don't know how, first of all, you see a government forming. I know everything's up in the air at the moment.
Yeah.
But depending on who's in charge, will it actually make people less willing to invest in Italy?
It depends. I think you have to stay in the place in the mind. Probably a German company will feel even less comfortable in investing in Italy. Americans, they have prejudice already on Italy, so they might be careful. But since the biggest investor now are the Asians, they are not concerned by politics anywhere. They live in countries with very different situation, but the Japanese, Chinese, Singaporean, large financial funds, and I'm even talking about sovereign funds, are investing significantly, even in FSI, for example, but in many opportunities. So they will keep seeing Italy as a great potential.
Around you, did you see reforms being made that the government has been saying they've done, and do you think these will take a back step?
I'm not very confident on the possibility to have serious reforms in the short term, because reforms need really a very large base and also an important know-how. Now, we will have a parliament definitely less expert and probably also not so used to debate this kind of thing. I think the quality of people who have been elected this time seems, in terms of culture, political and economical culture, seems quite lower. And even in the program of the different parties, all parties, you really see economy not at the center, economy in the sense of growth, development, attracting investment, not at the top of the interest.
Do you see fresh elections? You mentioned that, but historically, actually, Italians always try to avoid those.
But honestly, I was looking yesterday at the recent cases. I think in Europe there has been at least 5 countries re-voting, Spain, Portugal, Greece, Croatia, Netherlands. The result has never been dramatically different from what it was before. It has just given the out. Either you reach an agreement or you will have a country which is not controlled by a majority. So I think this is really the last resource. And I also think that people who have been elected this time, in most cases for the first time, they will stay very, very close to their seat in order not to take this risk. So everything is possible before thinking of breaking down, and it will be very complicated to have a new voting law and regulation which has been reached with so many difficulties. I think it might be impossible.
Mr. Norsa, you were for many years head of Ferragamo. I know they're also looking for a new CEO, so I don't know whether you got the call yet or not, but there was a serious concern, if you're head of a big multinational, that the U.S. tariffs actually hurt expansion. Will they hurt Italian companies that export abroad?
I would see, if we look at the luxury system, it has always been based on export from the beginning. The Italian fashion or the French fashion, they found the United States and Japan, and now, of course, China is the biggest counterpart. So there is concern on the United States policy, but I think, and the restrictions, I think it might be more in the mechanical industry or in the area of fashion and luxury. There is not much in the United States if we really look at pure luxury. And at the end, I think the price is not such a strict factor. People buy things which are unique and the pricing. If there is a stronger opposition that is creating more barriers or so, probably Italy will turn more to Asia.
Could you see some of the Chinese money that were, without talking about trade wars, but the Chinese money that was meant to be in the United States, could you see it coming in Europe because they feel antagonized by what the U.S. is doing?
Yes, I think. I've seen a movement in the Chinese investments, even in terms of quality of investors and specialization in a certain sense. Now you have companies which are really focusing on the country. There are people, I met investors from Singapore a few days ago, also going around Italy looking for properties, looking for tourism, possibility to build golf courses, hotels, things. So this is an area where the Chinese will keep getting even more